I'm Eric Hunley, and welcome to the channel. I'm here today with Gavin Stone, and we are going to be covering, well, Amber Heard. I was not going to be covering Amber Heard anymore. I'm ready to move on. I even was looking at some other videos and other topics, but no. She can't stay out of it. She's out on tour. First it was her lawyer on tour, and now it's her. So Gavin and I are going to look. The theme of this video is that she doesn't blame the jury. However, does her body language and statement analysis agree? Gavin, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Amber is just a gift that keeps on giving, isn't she?
Yeah, she seems to be. So let's go ahead and tear through this video. Try not to spend too much time on it because honestly, it's exhausting. I don't know how she can keep coming up and up and up. It's like, I think the world is ready to move on, but she's not ready for the world to move on or something like that. So here we go.
I don't care what one thinks about me or what judgments you want to make about what happened in the privacy of my own home and my marriage behind closed doors. I don't presume the average person should know those things, and so I don't take it personally. But even somebody who is sure I'm deserving of all this hate and vitriol, even if you think.
So there's a couple of things that I picked up on as I was watching it there is when she first started speaking, you could see the emotional looking down and right when she was talking about what was going on. You could see the micro expressions of disgust back then for a moment, and the fact that she doesn't, I would say she doesn't agree with what she's saying. It doesn't seem congruent.
Okay. Is this discussed with the subject, discussed with the jury, discussed with...
It was at the point where she was talking about if other people believe that she's deserving, and you could see this kind of, for a moment where she's like, disgusted at the idea that people would be believing that she's deserving of the disrespect.
Okay.
There was other stuff as well, but those were the main things that jumped out.
Sure, I'm deserving of all this hate and vitriol. Even if you think that I'm lying, you still couldn't look me in the eye and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation. You cannot tell me that you think that this has been fair.
Now, this I find fascinating because I interpret this, in my opinion, as a tacit admission that she's full of it. It feels a lot like Eve Barlow actually tweeted out after saying, even if she did lie and everything else, this is still setting back women. I'm like, what? Well, she's kind of saying, even if you absolutely believe I lied, it isn't fair. What are you talking about?
Yep.
What do you see here?
Yeah, to me, there's that whole contradiction of, look, I'm not lying, but even if I was lying, then it wouldn't be very fair. And, it's like kind of, well, which are you? Because you wouldn't be saying the latter if you didn't believe, if you seriously believed the former. So, it's debatable at best. But, yeah, I believe she's tripping herself up.
Well, she's also doing an appeal right now, too, right? Believe me.
Yeah, it was a good point to spot it, actually. That kind of look for approval. Perfect pause.
Of course, we also touched on what happened in court and what the jury decided. There's no polite way to say it. The jury looked at the evidence you presented. They listened to your testimony, and they did not believe it.
I wish this was just being played and you could watch her expression as this was being said. It's very frustrating.
Oh, yeah.
Having it away from her, because now we just have to go for the... But with her and her testimony, you saw her almost pre-rehearsing things as she was being asked things when the camera's on her. And I feel like we're missing something here.
Yeah, it's really annoying. This for anybody who does anything like this when they're studying this kind of thing is the most annoying thing when the camera's on the interviewer and not the person being interviewed, so you can't see their initial reaction to the question at the point of the actual trigger. The future of television is a remote control that will allow you to select the camera angle, in my opinion.
Also, is it me or is that a look of contempt that I see?
Looks that way, yeah. She started the sentence off with, "There is no polite way to say this." I believe she is in a position where she doesn't believe anything Amber Heard's saying, but has had the duty of interviewing her.
Okay, I just want to confirm because I'm just, I'm like, look at this pause point. I mean, this literally looks like textbook contempt. You got down in the other, asymmetry going around, baby. So, yeah. And the tone just sounds that way.
They thought you were lying.
How could... I'll put it this way. How could they make a judgment? How could they not come to that conclusion? They had sat...
We're missing one thing. One thing. Amber. The words no.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the first thing that should have been out of her mouth. The minute she said, her defence started, she should have turned around and said, but I am telling the truth, or I wasn't lying, one or the other. Either one of those two would have been great. The fact that I'm telling the truth would have probably been better than I wasn't lying, but either of them, to jump into partial defence, then stop. She's had time to think about it. Her blink rate's gone up. You can see her eyes all over the place looking for what she wants to come up with. She's stopped partway through a sentence with her explanation, decided that she's come up with something better, started with a second explanation, and again she's diversifying, she's digressing, she's not giving it a direct defence.
In those seats and heard over 3 weeks of non-stop, relentless testimony from paid employees and towards the end of the trial, randos, as I say.
So you don't blame the jury?
I don't blame them. It wasn't... I don't blame them. I actually understand. He's a beloved...
Love that. Now, hold on. From paid employees and towards the end of the trial, randos. Because it's like, oh shit, not everybody's a paid employee. So randos, like those cops. Cops come, they're random cops that are coming to, with their body cams. Those are random folks.
Yeah, that was brilliant, that was. And you got a little bit of sentence fade towards the end of what she was saying, and then obviously she's tried to cover it up with that bit of humour at the very end, make it look like it's all a big joke, which, in my opinion, probably would have backfired on her a little bit. And the very mere fact that she's saying, how could they not come up with that conclusion? Well, that's what they're there to do. They're there to... It's their job to remain as unbiased as possible, look at all the evidence that's presented and nothing outside of the evidence that's presented, and come up with a conclusion. So they were doing what they were there to do.
Of non-stop, relentless testimony from paid employees and towards the end of the trial, randos, as I say.
And then that, as I say, it's like, oh shit! I just called them the little people.
Yeah.
It really is. It's like she caught herself, like Marie Antoinette, let them eat cake, and there's a snobbish quality that she seems to exude quite often. So that was very telling.
That nervous laugh at the end. Yeah, that kind of the laugh said more about the fact that she realised she'd made a mistake than the actual sentence itself.
Which is actually interesting because that's more convincing than a lot of other stuff. It's like that actually felt real.
Yeah.
It's like, that was like kind of real and
she made a faux pas. And again, yeah, there's almost like a look of disbelief, like a very looking like I'm not sure I'm buying what you're selling.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this Samantha Guthrie, I think is her name. She looks like she could be her mother. And she's just been told that she only had one beer and went to the library.
Yeah.
I mean, does she not have that look? Just that
suspicious look of, yeah.
Really suspicious, in my opinion.
So you don't blame the jury?
I don't blame them. It wasn't... I don't blame them. I actually understand. He's a beloved character. And people feel they know him. He's a fantastic actor.
Their job is...
Do you see that the blink rate when go right up again when she was talking about, you got the eyelid flutter when she was talking about the fact that he's a beloved character.
And people feel they know him. He's a fantastic actor.
Their job is to not be dazzled by that. Their job is to look at the facts and the evidence. And they did not believe your testimony or your evidence.
How could they, after listening to 3.5 weeks of testimony about how I was a non-credible person, not to believe a word that came out of my mouth.
Well, there we go. She got to testify, though. I mean, what? She was saying Johnny was a liar. She was saying everybody else is a liar. I mean,
It's amazing. It's kind of, look, now I can't blame Johnny. I've got to blame somebody or something else. You know, they believe in Johnny, now I've got to blame somebody else. It's unbelievable. Exactly. I mean, she's dropped the "I remembers," which is great. She doesn't have to come up with any of that. I remember when I was in court and this happened and that happened, because we all love the remix that was made. But yeah, she's sitting there trying to convince again instead of trying to convey, instead of kind of telling what's happened. She's trying to win people over and win the public opinion. So and she's still trying to cast that little bit of doubt on Johnny as well.
Crazy. Well, folks, it doesn't matter what Gavin and I think. What do you think? Seriously. Mm-hmm. Do you believe her now? Is she convincing you? Do you feel bad that this has happened to Amber Heard? Or do you think Amber Heard should go work on getting some payments to send a check to Johnny? Please let us know in the comments below.